Hello, today's video is about accounting equation. The accounting equation represents a specific point in time. It reflects the financial position of a company at a particular moment, typically at the end of the accounting period. So we will look at what the equation is about. So the accounting equation is expressed as asset equals liability plus equity. The balance sheet, which is also known as the financial position, is derived from the accounting equation. A balance sheet is a financial statement that shows the asset, liabilities, and equity of a company, and it must always balance. So the relationship between these three is considered to be the basis of the double entry system of accounting. This equation ensures that every debit entry has a corresponding credit entry, and this is what we call the duality concept. The liability and equity represent how a company's assets are financed. So when a business decides to expand, it often acquires more assets, and financing may come from either liabilities, for example, loans, or equity, example, investment from owners. So we will look at the components of the equation. So when we check the asset side, we have non-current asset, which comprises of tangible non-current assets and intangible non-current assets. So example of tangible non-current asset, we have property, plant, and equipment. We can have land, and for the intangible, we can have goodwill, copyright, patent, trademarks, etc. And for the current asset, we can have cash and cash equivalent. We can have trade receivables and also inventory, and we can also have prepaid expense. I have covered prepaid expense in one of my videos, so you can watch that. And at the liability part, we have non-current liability, and example could be debentures, which is long-term loans. And we have current liability, and we can talk about tax payable, and then we can also refer to trade payable and also accrued expense. I have also covered the accrued expense in one of my videos, so you can have a look at it. And when we come to equity, we have retained earnings, and then we have share capital. So note that when the accounting equation is rearranged, whether it be asset equals to liability plus equity, or equity equals to asset minus liability, or liability equal to asset minus equity, it must always balance. So we will take an example of equity. So when this accounting equation is rearranged, equity equal to asset minus liability. So what it represents is that equity is what is left after the liability is taken from the asset. So it means that when a company goes bankrupt, the asset of the company is sold, and the proceeds are used to settle first the creditors. In this case, the bank, the suppliers, and what is left is what the shareholders or the equity holders have claim to. So we will have an example to explain how the equation is and the importance of it balancing always. So John started a business buying and selling cars. He invested $30,000 into the business. So note here, he invested 30,000. That means the capital that was injected into the business. So we can see it here that it will be at the equity side. That's the initial investment of 30,000. And in the same, this is one entry. So the other entry will be cash since we'll be receiving the cash, which is an asset. So we can see that with the initial investment, the asset is equal to equity. So we can see the equation is balancing. So when we read further, he bought a car for 15,000 and sold it for 20,000, making a profit of 5,000. So we take car to be inventory. Sorry. We take car to be inventory. So that means 15,000. We bought a car of 15,000. So that means cash will reduce. So in essence, the asset side is zero and we still have the 30,000 equal to 30,000 at the credit side. And then it was sold for 20,000, making a profit of 5,000. So if it sold for 20,000, then our cash will increase by 20,000 and then inventory will decrease by 15,000. So when we put all of this together, we get 35. And the profit, as we know, retained earnings is is calculated by the retained earnings brought forward from the previous year plus the profit or loss from the previous year minus any dividend or drawings as you may call it. So retained earnings simply is equal to the net result of the company, like the net profit or the net loss. So in this case, we add the 5,000 to the 30,000 to get 35. And when we sum all this together, it is 35. So that means the equation is balancing. And when we read further, to expand his business, he took a loan of 80,000 from the bank. So 80,000 from the bank, this will be a loan payable of 80,000. And at the asset side, we will have cash of 80,000. So we can see that the total at the asset side is 115,000. And on the credit side, 80 plus 35,000 is equal to 115,000. So this is all about the accounting equation. Thank you very much for your attention and please do well to subscribe to my channel and I'll bring you more videos. See you in my next video. Bye bye.